morning, welcome to Court A, Lee Westwood Sports Centre. Last day of the WFA Optegra Championship. Got Teesside Steels versus Bournemouth. Kind of non-game for both teams, unfortunately. And that Teesside Steels, I think, are confirmed in the playoff position. Oh no, I've got that completely wrong. Teesside Steels and Villa Rockets vying for playoff position into the Premiership, but Bournemouth guaranteed relegation. Nothing that happens this weekend will change that. So Teesside Steel, if they win this game, will then go 2 points clear of Villa Rockets Lions. So both this game and the following games for Teesside Steel and Villa Rockets Lions crucial to how the season pans out. But you'd expect Steels with an average 2-goal a game goal difference, and Bournemouth with an average, there we have it straight away, average 6-goal a game, 4-goal a game deficit. But this will go out in Steel's favour. Already it's 1-0. Khan scoring easily there. So 1-0 to Manchester City. Oh my goodness, an immediate response from Bournemouth to make it 1-1. Not seen the like. So 1-1, quite remarkably. Just over 2.5 minutes gone. Just Bournemouth need to keep their heads down. Obviously delighted to have got the goal back so quickly, but they can't let that shape how they defend now. It's Teesside Steel just too clinical. Great ball there from Mulgrew. Khan, double hit, but came off King in the end, out for a corner. So as I was saying, at Bournemouth, unfortunately guaranteed relegation. Steel and Villa Rockets Lions vying for the playoff place. Big hit from Mulgrew, well defended by King. So a win vital here for Steel to keep the hopes alive of getting into the Premiership through the playoffs. Good hit by Khan. Khan looking very determined today. He scored the first goal. Murray, Khan, lovely, stop the ball, trying to get it onto Mulgrew. He does. Mulgrew looking back at goal. Murray, ball lifting off. That's a couple of times the ball's lifted quite high today. Quite a danger to players when that happens. Can happen if the ball's overinflated. But underinflated ball is also a risk, because that can get trapped under the chairs and turn them over. Anyway, goal. Kick to Bournemouth. King, big spin, comes off Mulgrew. Now, realising all the excitement of the goals, I haven't gone through the teams. Let me just do that. So we've got Hannam in goal. Bournemouth playing towards us in their red and black striped tops. Hannam in goal with the yellow one for keeper. Chris King in the middle. Sevenoaks on the left. Our right as we look at it. Berry on the right for Bournemouth. Our left as we look at it. Steele. Murray in goal. Mulgrew in the middle. Met on the right. And Khan on the left, although Met and Khan are crisscrossing as tactical play requires. So it's currently 1-1. Steele scoring very quickly, and then practically off the kick-off, Bournemouth responding to make it 1-1. Saying earlier that the stats suggest a kind of tough time for Bournemouth here. I mean, as they would do at the bottom of the league, but the Met having a couple of goes at the goal there, but it came off the post and then went out. So I mean, since Bournemouth's goal to make it 1-1, all the pressure back with Teesside Steele applying it to Bournemouth. They haven't quite got between the posts yet in terms of an attempt. Delighted to be joined this morning by a certain Dean Williams. I don't know how he'd like to describe himself, a top cyclist, a chairperson of the WFA, or even perhaps just a Spurs fan. I mean, which one would you choose?
But actually also endurance cyclist. Do I get away with that now?
You can have that. You can have that. 3 days, 200 miles.
And we're doing this just for everyone's. If you can't see us, you won't be able to see us on screen. We're doing this in a stationary position. We're not on a bike.
Yeah, no moving legs involved in today's effort.
How are you doing, Nick?
I'm good, thank you. Now, this is a match that matters.
Yeah.
Steele's having to keep winning if they're going to have a opportunity to get into the playoff position for the Premiership.
Huge game.
Yeah. Nothing Bournemouth can do to save themselves from relegation, but they can still affect the table. And they came back to 1-1 almost instantly, having gone 1-0 down. One of those games where you think, oh, as soon as Steele score, it's all over, and Bournemouth came straight back to make it 1-1.
We saw this with Bournemouth yesterday, a game against Man United, and they were 2-0 up, actually, Bournemouth, and it did finish 2-2, but again, sometimes it's easy, isn't it, to look at the table and think about Bournemouth had a very tough season.
Yeah. And
there were glimpses yesterday that if they're on it, they can cause teams a few problems.
Yeah.
But this is a huge game, so significance of this is if it stays like this, there'll be one game remaining, and for that crucial third place playoff spot with the third team that finishes third from bottom in the Premiership at the end of this season, there will be one game remaining for both teams, and Teesside Steele and Villa Rockets Lions will be locked on 42 points each.
Isn't that
so
tight?
It will go down to the last game, although there is a considerable difference in goal difference. Villa Rockets Lions have 20 in terms of goal difference. That is doubled by Teesside Steele.
Right.
And if you don't know this, Nick, I found this out yesterday. Teesside Steele on the back of a 16-game unbeaten run, which is massive. To not be in the top two with that form, it just tells you about the quality of the two teams. That, again, I'm going to send my congratulations to Muscle Warriors and GBG Knights. Both will be playing Premiership football next season.
And GBG Knights with probably the top goal scorer and the top assister, and yet they finished second.
Yeah,
shows you how
crazy, isn't it? With
relentless Muscle Warriors have been.
With a 64-65 and counting goal difference.
Yeah.
Crazy. What a season it's been, Nick.
And I'm just looking at the bottom of the Premiership, which is to conclude next weekend.
Yeah.
Currently, Middlesbrough and Nottinghamshire vying for, I'll say vying for, actually, and Throssell's, all three potentially in the playoff position. So Steel, if they make it, or indeed Villa, Rockets, Lions, they'll be playing Throssell's, Nottinghamshire or Middlesbrough for that spot. Imagine that, Villa, Rockets, Lions versus West Bromwich Albion, Throssell's.
And whatever permutation comes out, that will be played on the 14th of June before our end of season awards as well. So
and
that's big
it's
day.
still played in Nottingham, but the awards are in Leicester. Is that right?
Yeah, that's absolutely spot on. So back here on the 14th for some very, very critical football.
Now the 14th of June will possibly be one of the longest days, probably the longest day in my life. Do you know why?
Go on.
I'll be landing in northern Norway, and the sun won't set for 2 weeks.
And is now the right time, Nick?
We can talk about it.
Let's do that. So I'd love you to, while we've got a moment in the game where we've got a midfield battle going on, just give us a brief overview of your next challenge, because, and I mean this in a very endearing way, I love the fact that initially we were talking about my challenge with you, which I'm incredibly fond of and have brilliant memories of. The 200 mile cycle challenge was a bit of a warm-up for you, wasn't it? Because in June you were doing something quite extraordinary. Tell the listeners.
It's the cycle ride of a lifetime. I tried it when I was younger, much younger, and didn't make it. I'm going to cycle from Arctic Norway down to Spain. It's going to take about 2 months, about 80 miles a day, 6 days on, rest day, 6 days on. And it starts in northern Norway. The midnight sun will be up for at least a week of cycling. Then it won't get dark for 3 weeks by the time we get to Stockholm.
That's incredible.
The most remote part of Europe. So we're going to have to take tents and water filters and things for the first week. None of the roads are particularly sealed with asphalt, so it's quite kind of rough cycling. But we've put all the practice in, put the miles in, and I'm really looking forward to it. Well, at the moment I'm looking forward to it. Every hour I go up and down, and other times I'm terrified. But
and the kilometres, to give our listeners a feel for the kilometres.
6,500 kilometres,
wow.
About 4,500 miles.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's crazy.
And of course, as we are all doing these days, we're trying to raise money for the WFA Benevolent Fund.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't?
Which we are incredibly appreciative of, and that's your second challenge in quick succession, Nick. So you're putting us to shame, really. But that was, I mean, it's a huge thank you from me for your efforts on that, and what a challenge. And I know it's got significance for you in terms of a personal challenge, but you could decide to keep it like that or raise money for any other very worthwhile causes. And the fact that you're choosing us, that's a personal thanks from me, which is brilliant.
Ooh, great save there by Holloway off.
Am I allowed to claim that if you are successful in this pursuit, which you will be, because I've got to know you very well as a character, is some of it down to the intensity of the training ride that I did with you a few weeks ago?
Let's hope nothing is like the night on the moors.
Let's never speak about that. We had that agreement. My goodness.
Well, as you know, the ride we were doing, I was using that to kind of put my bike through its final paces.
Yes.
Carrying the gear and all that kind of thing were an
Yeah.
important part of that. So definitely you can put a portion of that down to the ride we did together.
I will be with you, not physically, but in spirit, 100%.
Well, Brian and I are figuring out how to kind of find a way of keeping an update on it as we go. And Tom, 2-on-1 given. Thomas put the ball in the back of the net, but I think must have been Khan and Mulgrew were 2-on-1 there.
Thomas Met, however, doing what he does very well. He's been nicknamed from the first game week this season I gave him the nickname of the Poacher, which I think he quite likes that.
Yeah, I've met the net, surely.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Maybe that's for next season.
Yeah.
No, he's got that he's got that knack, hasn't he, of being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. And all good strikers love scoring, don't they?
Yeah,
he loves it when he scores, and quite rightly.
Bournemouth look, commentators curse, but they look okay, don't they? They look comfortable at the moment. Teesside are in the ascendancy.
1-1 with only 5 minutes left in the first half. Oh, I thought really good positioning there from Murray. Like maybe half a foot to his left, and Berry could have come behind him. So just made her play the ball to the right of the goal. Big hit, touch by Melgrew to Khan, away to Met. I mean, there's classic Steele play here. Crisscrossing the court, very accurate.
Very, very noticeable for the season with Teesside. They've got a way of everyone playing their contribution in a goal and a move. It's a very consistent thing we've seen this season. And I've not seen a lot. Oh, just wait for this
shoe off.
Sorry, Nick, I was just not seen enough of the first half as we reach the end of it, but a player that's impressed me for Teesside throughout this season is Oscar Mulgrew. I just think he's been immense through this season. Contribution's been superb.
There's quite a few players have emerged this season in the Championship who are kind of finding their way into PFC football, having been relatively new to it. I don't know how long Mulgrew might have been playing in reserves or regional leagues, but he's kind of newish to the nationals.
A lot of players, I think to that point, a lot of players have matured. They've taken a bit more responsibility. They've seized those opportunities, and we're seeing them grow in stature, which is very noticeable.
Owen Swift on now for Thomas Met. I think Owen is the coach for Steele, isn't he?
He's coached for Teesside in the Premiership.
Ah, okay. So I think a lot of the style of play will be down to Owen and his experience.
He's now the joint record holder alongside Hannah Hindley. Congratulations to Hannah, who's just won the title with Muscle Warriors there this morning. But I think Owen and Hannah have both scored for 5 different clubs. So don't be surprised. In the Muscle Warriors game this morning, we saw Hannah Hindley in the most advanced position I've ever seen her in. Because
has she scored for Warriors?
No.
Ah.
So if she does, so if there's a penalty in that very eagerly anticipated game between the top two, I wouldn't be surprised if Hannah takes that penalty.
Right.
She did miss a penalty yesterday. So it's clearly on their mind to give her that opportunity. But Owen at the moment is joint level with her, having scored a poacher's type goal yesterday.
So I think I've only known Owen associated with Teesside. Although I'll say that, but maybe it's North East teams. And
yeah, I think that's probably the case before my time.
Yeah.
But yeah, since I've been involved, it's been Teesside. And he's coming. We should say that Owen's coming back from some injuries and some challenges himself. So he hasn't played for a significant period of time, and he seemed to settle in very, very easily yesterday.
Oof. Another high ball. It's bounced around a lot on this court this morning. Not good. One of the players was hit. They were all right. Mulgrew taps it to Swift. Swift, classic reverse to, doesn't get through to Khan. So Khan on the ball. You'd expect this to come via Mulgrew or straight to Swift for a chance on the back post. Mulgrew, doesn't get it around to Swift. Sevenoaks just putting on enough pressure there for Bournemouth. we were chatting earlier about, that's first half over, 1-1. So great performance from Bournemouth. We were chatting about pub quiz questions. So Adam Sevenoaks has the surname of another club.
Yep.
Can you ever think of a Premier League player who's had the surname of another? I mean, no one gets called United, Manchesters or Leicesters or Nottinghams or Forests. I can't. It's probably happened.
Oh no! I mean, I'm not sure about here, but you'd think about that. Nottingham is a surname I've heard before.
Yeah.
So
but I've never heard a player.
No, I haven't. I haven't. No, very true. Yes, we would need Sevenoaks playing for Sevenoaks.
Yeah.
Would be a lot easier, wouldn't it? Surely. They are draw.
Sunderland. Did Alan Sunderland ever play for Sunderland? Oh, it doesn't matter. He played, didn't he? But were Sunderland in the top flight at the time? I can't remember.
I'm not sure. I mean, I'll tell you what would help us here. Google. Let's have a look.
Or artificial intelligence, and it doesn't.
Yes.
Whether it hallucinates or not, we won't know. Right.
Fair
So,
way.
should we take, rather than bore the listeners with our pub quiz, should we take a short break?
And we'll come back about Alan Sunderland second half.
Welcome back. We're just about to kick off the second half. Dean's on the tablet. He'll remember to push the kick off at the required time.
And we had a question at half-time for anyone that stayed with us at the end of the first half. We were talking about Alan Sunderland. Has he indeed ever played for Sunderland? The answer's no. He's played for Ipswich, Wolves, Arsenal, and a few others, but not for Sunderland.
So we were just describing Teesside Steel as draw specialists.
Yeah.
Which sounds, I was going to say sounds unusual for a team in third, but when Arsenal Invincibles were draw specialists, weren't they? They didn't win as many as you might imagine.
It's an interesting stat. Ryan and I talked about it at the back end of yesterday, because it's at this level when you've got two teams fighting out for that prize of third place, and we talked about the significance of that. So in this case, Teesside and Villa Rockets Lions. You're looking for small margins of either what will create the success or cause the challenge in terms of the not quite making it over the line. And you can look at it both ways, can't you? Because if Teesside managed to sneak third place, the reality is the draws would have been vital. If they finished fourth, you'd look at that completely opposite way and go, actually, it's the 8 draws that they've had that have cost them potentially. So let's see where it ends up. But it's noticeable that, and I think this is incredible in terms of looking at the quality that exists within this league, which lots of us as commentators would have pointed out time and time again. For Teesside to be, at the moment, in third place and fighting for that, having lost one game the whole season, and on the back of 16 unbeaten, that's incredible. Shines a light in the direction of the top two, Muscle Warriors and GBG Knights.
So as it stands, Muscle Warriors, GBG Knights, Villa Rockets, you have to get of the top 5, take out Teesside. The rest have drawn as many as Teesside.
Yeah.
In total.
Yeah.
So I mean, in a way, I was going to say a draw would be unimaginable against Bournemouth,
but not really.
What else should we expect?
No, we've got 18 minutes to play yet, so a lot could change. But there's
on the occasion they win. So on average, they've got a goal difference of 2 a game.
Yeah.
Half the games they've drawn.
Yeah.
So they must absolutely smash it when they win their 8. Bournemouth are letting in on average 4 a game.
Yeah.
So this ought to be a 6-0.
And that's the beauty of football, isn't it?
Yeah.
That you have to play the game that's in front of you, which is why we love it so much. There's no gimmies. There's never I mean, that's the impressive bit for me. I think, you look at Bournemouth, who have had clearly challenges this season. But when you look at it...
Here we go. Oh, I went... Was the ball bobbling there?
It may have caught a funny angle on the chair. Yeah, when you look at that, Bournemouth have not lied down.
No.
They refuse to lie down. I've made reference to the 2-2 draw with Man United yesterday. But they're not lying down.
No. Now, we've had a substitute, Skinner on Berry off for Bournemouth. Now, Bournemouth, Hannam, King, Sevenoaks and Skinner. City unchanged from the end of the first half. Murray, Mulgrew, Swift and Khan. Great defence there from King.
Chris King makes such a difference to Bournemouth. Huge difference.
Oof, I thought that was against City. Right, 2-1 for Manchester City. Teesside, what am I saying?
You're not watching the other game,
no.
Man City are playing the other game.
Where did that come from? I think it's the light blue.
It will be. Damn them for having that light blue kit.
They've even got, I think they're the only team to have a picture of the local architecture on the back of their badges, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think it's the Transporter Bridge in
that possibly rings
Teesside,
true, doesn't it?
Of which I think there's only a dozen or so in the entire world.
Is that right?
I think so. I was reading it in a book where someone happened to go over Transporter Bridge and then mentioned how few there were.
On the note, by the way, sorry Nick, on the note of Man City, just for people who are not watching the other game, Sale United 0, Man City 1.
No.
Another example of a team that's not lying down.
Yeah.
Such a competitive league.
And they're to play Bournemouth last City.
Yeah, that's right. Do you know what? Just for our reference, because this will make you feel very nice inside, Nick, because the intention behind the Benevolent Fund was not about us, but to get people to be inspired towards doing their own challenges to raise money for the fund, which of course will enable it to build quicker, which then enables us to think about where we can assist in help in a few years' time. That's my aspiration for that. But the amount of people that have come to me saying we'd like to do something, we'd like to do our own challenge, and that extended last night with the England squad coming towards us and then thinking about a challenge that to be defined that they would like to do, and I love that because
that's the England Power Chess squad.
Yes, and that's important. Yes, sorry, and that's important for you to hear that, because you know that's the bit we both know. We were very aligned on this. We were doing it for that.
Yeah,
it was never about a couple of people doing it. It's just about kick-starting it.
Now Hannam's off the pitch. Is the keeper allowed off the pitch?
He's just crept on it, I think. I mean, we can't really see from this angle, can we?
It's given a penalty for contact.
That may well be the case. I'm not sure. I didn't hear that. There was a communication going on between referee and assistant, but I didn't hear what was being said there. So regardless, it is a penalty. Oscar Mulgrew has a chance to put Teesside back in front. And he has scored. Teesside 2-1 to the good.
Let's see if Bournemouth can do what they did last time, straight back. Skinner with the ball versus Khan. So that penalty goal scored by Oscar Mulgrew puts Steele back in the jump seat for the promotion playoff.
It does. Villa Rockets Lions will be looking at that with interest, I think, because that's not what they wanted to see at all.
So the draw specialists sneak a win when they need it.
At this moment they are. So this would put them on 44 points if it stays like this. Villa Rockets Lions, same amount of games with one game to go, 42 points. So you'd start to think that Teesside will fancy that significant goal difference, which means that if it does stay like this, Teesside, barring an absolute avalanche of goals in favour of Villa Rockets Lions, just a point will do it for them to clinch third place.
And they do love a point, as we've been saying.
Yeah, they can certainly get a point. That's been demonstrated time and time again. And again, while we're talking about that, if it stays like this, 17 games.
Yeah, unbeaten.
Which is, again, extraordinary. Bournemouth seem to be having some chair issues. Chris King having something done.
So Berry on in place of King. Bournemouth now Hannam, Berry, Skinner and Sevenoaks. Teesside unchanged in the last 10 minutes. Cross court. Ooh, Skinner would contact that, didn't quite make it, so cross-court ball's gone all the way across the other side, out for a kick-in to City Steel, who take it quickly. Swift driving in towards goal. Mulgrew looking across to Khan, no, back to Swift. Swift trying to get it across to Khan. It's gone out for a Teesside kick.
And Owen Swift was instrumental in the penalty, right? If it was for contact, it may have looked like a soft amount of contact, but it's still contact.
Yeah.
But that was Owen that was involved front and centre in that.
Oh, great cross-court ball, Khan. Oh,
it's a great pass from Owen Swift.
Well saved by Skinner. That was going in, wasn't it? Last 10 minutes. Teesside Steel 2-1 up. Just looking to cement the points. Across to Swift. Swift back to Mulgrew. Mulgrew back to Swift. Oh, lovely. Moving the ball really well. Yeah,
there we
good
go.
Goal.
Given.
Momentum with Swift there. Hannam in the right position, but just couldn't get the chair angle right.
Khan across to Owen Swift.
Yeah.
And there we go. It's another goal for Owen on his return. You would have thought, with just over 8 minutes left, Nick, that's that.
You do, yeah. I can't dig into the... Seeing if I can dig into the underlying stats for Bournemouth. I can't find them immediately, but you know they've probably not scored more than 2 goals in any game all season.
Yeah,
they scored 2 yesterday, didn't they?
Yeah,
so
I think this would be, if they to get back into it and get at least something from it. In 2 goals in 7.5 minutes, that'd be something they've not done this season. 100%. Long period of this game, let's be clear, they were well and truly in this.
Nice touch by Swift. So another kick. Swift's very comfortable, isn't he, at putting the ball into the box and then attacking it.
Yeah.
He knows his ball handling skills off the chair are good enough to put pressure on any keeper.
And I'm not sure if that's again, he's not played for some time, but I'm not sure if that's a regular position for Owen or not, out on the wing.
It would have been in the, I'll say the old days when I first saw him, 7 or 8 years ago, you know, that would have been classic. Yeah, 2-on-1 against Khan and Mulgrew, so Bournemouth with the kick. Ball goes straight to Mulgrew though, he hits it out, so kick into Bournemouth. Now, I've just seen something happening on Court B, which I will comment on because it's such a great reflection on the officials. Alan Murray's just won the championship as coach with Muscle Warriors.
Yeah.
Be entirely reasonable for him to have the day off and celebrate with his team, wouldn't it? And yet he's back on in the ref's gear, reffing another match.
And that's one of the strengths of this community, as you know. Nick is one of those qualities, and I have to say, I've spoken to Ryan when Muscle Warriors were again beating Man United first game this morning. I think they're very comfortable. I think the game finished 3-0, but at 3-0, just that enthusiasm and that continuation of good practice and the right behaviours, that was flooding through the team. And you know, he deserves a lot of credit for that. We often talk about it from a player's perspective, but, you know, players to play well and perform well with consistency are coached well.
Yeah.
That's the reality, right? He's done a superb job. And it's still, on that game, 1-0 to Man City.
Khan, just the ball runs away from him, goes out for a kick in.
And Man City, if it stays like that, will celebrate that.
Hang on, we've lost Dean. Try again, maybe the...
That's me.
Yep. Sorry,
I was just
talking
saying,
about Man City.
Man City 1-0 up against Surrey United on the other court. If it stays like that, they will celebrate that wildly.
Mulgrew to Khan. Oh! Goal given. There was a bit of discussion where the ball had gone high. It was over the bumper, but the red mark on the goal line marks the 50. I think it's 50 centimetres, isn't it? If the ball crosses the line over 50 centimetres, it's not a goal. The ref could have also called a high ball if it was dangerous. It didn't look dangerous. So brief discussion. The goal given. 3-1 now. 4-1.
Goal for Khan.
So Teesside Steel to play Hull and East Yorkshire. That's a toughie because Hull and East Yorkshire are going to want to avoid. There's a strong chance that Man City can draw or win against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
So Hull are going to want points off Teesside. Teesside will be desperate to get some points in the bag to avoid a loss to avoid losing the playoff position to Villa Rockets Lions. So, although the top and the bottom are nailed, the places in between still being very hard fought over. So a bit of discussion there. Skinner was off the pitch behind the goal line, which he's not allowed to be. Therefore, to be more than 5 yards away, he had to move position, whereas the keeper can be behind the line. No goal. So it was an indirect free kick, 2-1.
Needed a touch.
No one touched it.
Needed a touch. Mulgrew wasn't far away from that, but it did need a touch.
Here we go again. Bournemouth defending, taking it back. 90 seconds on the clock. No points in the game for them, but Teesside Steel, we won't say a scare because they love a draw, but having been at 1-1 for the first half, they sealed the second half. It's currently 4-1. They're not looking under threat. We've had a substitution, Swift off, Heehan on. So Teesside Steel now Murray, Heehan, Mulgrew and Met.
Good cameo from Swift.
Yeah.
Made a difference, didn't
Did it? Yeah.
When it was 1-1, he's instrumental in the second, third goal. Man City on the other pitch, literally dying seconds of a tremendous result. 1-0 against Surrey United at the moment.
Mulgrew looking for Met, finds Skinner for Bournemouth instead, but has gone out for a kick. Came back off Mulgrew, so it's a Bournemouth kick in. Dying seconds of this match. dying games of the season for Bournemouth.
It's a great pass, that.
Oh, a touch from Met. Doesn't quite get past Hannum. I can hear the timer buzzer's gone, so it's with the ref.
And on that note, Nick, I'm going to ask you, you were there present for the whole game. Who's your player of the match?
Well, I'll give it to Owen Swift because he changed the game.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. I think that's a really good shout.
And a great finish by Heehan. Comes on and scores, makes it 5-1.
Yeah.
No doubt about the outcome. Not sure there's been much for the ref to add extra time for.
It puts an incredible gloss on the scoreline, but actually at half-time, like we talked about, 1-1. Goodness me.
Yeah, talking about Bournemouth upsetting the promo playoff race.
And there we go, full time.
5-1 to Teesside Steel, who now they're in the jump seat for the promotion playoff. If they can get a point, it would seem very likely they'll make it. There to play Hull next. And Villa Rocket Lions.
And you probably hear in the background there, that's Man City defeating Sale United 1-0 with a jubilant fan base at the top of the arena and in the gallery.
Villa Rocket Lions with a very difficult match against Leeds Dynamo's, only a place below them in the table. So that's a great win there for Teesside Steel. You'd say they were favourites now, but
they just need that point, don't they?
Yeah.
That's it, because of the goal difference. So it looks like we're not betting men, Nick, I'm sure, but if we were, you'd probably favour your money in that direction, wouldn't you?
That fabulous win for City on Court B means a draw or better. Well, not a draw and a significant loss by Hull, and City will move away. They're guaranteed to stay in the Championship. They're just a point separate them and Hull now. Even a win for Forest, the goal difference is so big. I mean, they look like they're guaranteed to be in relegation position. I mean, not guaranteed, but it's like a huge win for them to overhaul City now.
Yeah.
So still some games to come.
Indeed.
Thank you for joining me, Dean.
Pleasure.
Bye.
Thank you, Nick.